Hello, my wonderful Atlanta Scalar peeps. I would like to share the beefed up intent script for the Relief from Autism service. I always do research, I read medical journals, etc. And every time new research comes up, I incorporate that into the intent script. So they're getting longer and longer. Now, even the not so beefed up autism relief has been quite successful. Especially if the person also does the microbiome optimization along with it. Now, here are just some. I mean, it's a 10-page long script, but I'll share just some of it. First, I started with generalities. They're immediately, completely, and fully freed from and cured of all forms of autism. We address neural inflammation. We address the connectivity in the frontal lobe of the brain, and even make sure that the thickness of the corpus callosum, which is the link, the bridge between the right and left lobes of the brain, is perfect, because in autism, the thickness is not correct. And also we make sure the functioning of the frontal and temporal lobes are perfected, that all neurons in the brain are in an ideal and perfect state. The number of neurons in all regions of the brain are perfect. And, sometimes you have too much in some, in some areas of the brain in the case of autism. And we'll make sure that's all uniform. Also, the concentration of gray matter sometimes is not uniform in autism. And we make sure that the concentration of gray matter, made up of neuronal cell bodies and dendrites and unmyelinated axons and unmyelinated glial cells, are perfect and uniform, etc. We also address the levels of gamma aminobutyric acid and the levels of glutathione and the levels of N-acetyl aspartase. And I mean, it's really a lot of science here. And the level basically of all neurotransmitters and of all neuropeptides in the brain. We want to make sure those levels are absolutely perfect. The level of biotinidase in the serum, we make sure that's normal. And the levels of C4b complement and cysteine and glutathione and methionine are also in the plasma, ideal and perfect. We also correct the ratio of S-adenosyl L-methionine to S-adenosyl L-homocysteine, as well as a ratio of reduced glutathione to oxidized glutathione. We also perfect the function of the mitochondria in the brain and the neural connectivity throughout the brain. We make sure to address that, as well as the neural migration in the brain. That actually really happens in, in the embryonic phase, but I'll put it in there anyway. Can't hurt. The number and functioning of synapses and the number and functioning of the dendritic spines in the brain, we make sure that's okay, as well as the balance between the excitatory neural activity and the inhibitory neural activity. Make sure that's normal too. Then I do a little bit about the microbiome, but not the huge 14, 15-page script. I can't do that, but I make sure that I just say that, just correct the microbiome, blah, 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 in the GI tract. The function of the mirror neuronal system, make sure we address that, as well as the functional organization of the task negative brain, negative network in the brain, that's normal. Also, a lot of people have this male brain theory for autism, that the brain is too masculine. So we correct the masculine feminine energy balance of the brain. And we target and correct any dysfunction in the executive function of the brain, as well as the central coherence in the brain. And we also even, any gene that may be associated with autism, the development and the continuance of autism, we make sure to block that. And we also try to correct and give the person with autism a healthy and appropriate degree of empathy without, turning them into empaths, basically. So that is just a little tip of the iceberg for the autism service, which we're going to start. Well, when you're reading this, it's already started. Sorry. All right. Thank you. Bye.